Hey, what's going on? Long time no see. Uh, we're going to talk about that movie Babylon that just came out not too long ago. It's on Amazon Prime. It's got mixed reviews, but before I get into that, I don't usually talk about video games, guys, but I want to address something, so this might be a two-parter video. Okay. Now, you guys see this game? Callisto Protocol. See this game? Dead Space. Both of them are similar in nature. I got them both. My wife pre-ordered them for Christmas because you could pre-order them off Amazon. And I want to talk about this one in particular. It was a gift, so I'm glad I didn't really spend any real good money on it because I love sci-fi horror action. I love movies like Event Horizon, things like that. Prometheus. I love all that stuff. I was looking forward to playing this because in this game you play a prisoner who has to break out of prison as a mutation sweeps through the prison colony, and in the process you have to fight your way out. And it looked pretty bloody, and it had a gimmick where you could grab onto an enemy and throw them on the spikes and everything else. And I want to tell you something, guys. As cool as that sounds, this game sucks. And I want to speak for a lot of people out here when I say that, because I've heard a lot of people say how bad this thing is. Crafton, the people that made it, really, I think, rushed this thing because there's a lot of problems with this game. Number one, if you put it on easy, it feels like you're playing Dark Souls, okay? Easy means you can skate through a game without any problem or minor problems in your story progression. Number two, there are so many frustrating points in this game that I don't even know how you could play it. I don't have the patience for this, you guys. And I think Crafton and Striking Distance should rethink their whole strategy because this game, like I said, sucks. The other problem with this game is that it's not one or two frustrating areas in a board. It's like the whole game. You're on that struggle bus. A game should be fun, okay? A game should want you to pick it up again and again and again and again. Then, not to mention, I am stuck on a boss that is unkillable. Because when you look up walkthroughs to kill him, there's no set parameter on how to kill this thing. You Google up how to kill the two-headed. Yeah, a lot of thought went into that, right? And it tells you 4 or 5 different methods. All of them I tried 100 times over, and you know what? The thing is still living, and I can't get past it. The other problem with this game is that looking back after you played a portion of this, the story was rushed. There was good ideas, bad execution. So this game goes right in the trash. Okay? Now, with that game failed upon, this game does a lot better. They're both similar in nature, like I said, but Dead Space is the clear winner. The story is more fleshed out. In easy mode, Crafton, I could beat the game, and I'm already on my 3rd playthrough. Okay? Take a hint. I'm just disappointed because I looked forward to the Callisto Protocol. They hyped it up, and then it fell really, really bad. Okay? And it just made me a little upset because the Callisto Protocol, don't get me wrong, has good ideas. But easy means you can beat the story. I put it on easy. I'm fighting struggle bus the whole way through. It pulls from games like... it pulls from other games. So, like The Last of Us, it pulls from that. It pulls from Dead Space. It almost seems like it has no true identity. The control schemes are sluggish, and in the 21st century, which is where we live, which is where we're at now, a melee combat game set in space sounds good, but at least have some guns And quick reload does not mean a monster can hit you 5 or 6 freaking times before you reload. And that's what that game is. So, shoddy controls, stupid storyline, okay? Parts of it seem like they're unfinished. And then in order to substitute that, they pull it from other games. So in my opinion, if you have the Callisto Protocol, throw it away. Show Craft in the message. Say, we're not going to buy your product until it's legit, it's good, and quite frankly, it's a bad product. Now that I got that out of my system, let's talk about Babylon. Babylon had a lot of mixed reviews. It's on Amazon Prime to buy, and it's coming out, I believe, in March. If you haven't seen this film, first of all, the film is not for everybody. I'm telling you right now. There's 165 profanities. There's things in the first 5 minutes of this that rival The Wolf of Wall Street. And before I go on, let me tell you a little bit about what it's about and what I think about it, and then we'll cap it off. Babylon is set toward the end of the silent movie era in the 1920s. You have some different characters, and in the first opening 20 minutes, there is a huge party with orgies going on. There's drug use, extreme drug use. And in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the film, we are treated to, how am I going to put this lightly? An elephant crapping all over some workers trying to push it up a hill. Countless naked dancers engaged in sexual activity at this party. Heavy drug use. A midget who basically simulates masturbation. And it's a lot to take in, but it sets the tone for the entire story. Because once the party is over, during the party, it starts jumping to its main characters. One played by Brad Pitt, one played by Margot Robbie, and there's another guy, I forget his name. But you get to see the evolution and the change from the silent era to when talkies became a big thing. If you stick through it for 3 hours and 3 hours and 9 minutes, you are treated to one hell of a roller coaster ride. And I think critics missed the mark, because this film makes you feel every kind of feeling there is to be felt during the cinema. You feel excited, disgusted, terrified, adrenaline filled with wonder. And you get to follow these couple of characters throughout the course of 20 years, guys. And Brad Pitt's character Jack Conrad is probably easily one of the most relatable. He is like the old guy that's been there for a while and has done one thing his entire life: act in silent movies. When talkies come around, he sees a shift in Hollywood, and you see his popularity decline, and he becomes a second or third rate player and forced to do things that really he doesn't like to do. You also see his films get laughed at instead of talked about, front page news. You also end up seeing the end of his demise. Then there's Margot Robbie's character, and she actually steals the show in this film. I know that earlier in the news she actually declined to have her name taken off of this movie because it was a box office failure. But I think, in all honesty, this is one of the ones that if you watch, you will see how good her performance really is. She shows up at this Hollywood party uninvited. She ends up getting a job, and you see how good of an actress she is. She's almost like an on-cue actress. They tell her to cry, she can cry buckets. They tell her to drop one tear drop out of her eye, she does that. Her acting in this film is flawless. Her storyline is very, very interesting. This film does deal with a bunch of controversial topics. You also get to see the fact that in the 1920s, and I'm not saying this to be racist or any means, I'm saying it because it has to deal with the film, how African American actors were treated, and how the studios wanted them to put makeup on to enhance their African American look. And the reason I said it that way is because I don't want to be labeled racist. You also get to see what happens, when pushed that far to some of these actors. The end of the movie, the very end of the movie, it takes everything you've just saw and injects it with adrenaline right down your throat. And it's one hell of a ride. There are so many memorable moments in this movie, but the thing is, I think, again, critics missed the point because, the early days of Hollywood, you did have the silent era. You did have that big shift in production, which required, more technology. Film crews were always, scouring to make the next film. They would make 2 movies in a day back in the day because it's silent. You didn't have to have that much technology to sort of make a movie. But you also saw the tragedy and what happened to some of these actors and how studios changed. And I think that's the moral of Babylon, is the fact that, the entire shift of Hollywood. And it's amazing. But again, not for everybody. And it was just wild to sort of see, how back in the 20s, movie stars were treated much like they are now. They were given carte blanche to do whatever they wanted. As long as they worked for a studio, they were given anything they wanted. And with the case of Brad Pitt's Jack Conrad, he knows he knows his popularity isn't good, but there's a segment in the movie where one of his directors calls, his former directors, and asks him to do a piece of shit movie. What are you going to do? He needed the money. You also get to see a little glimpse of their private lives in this, because everybody looks at movie stars through the camera lens. We see them as larger-than-life icons. But Babylon actually pulled the curtain a little bit back, and especially, again, on Brad Pitt's character, you see how his marriage really isn't exactly glamorous. Margot Robbie's character, you think her movies are great, and I forget her name, and it's a damn shame because I watched it last week. How she mismanaged her money and comes crawling back to her studio agent and says, "Hey, look, I'm in some real trouble here." You get to see these are real people with real problems. And there's a lot to that movie. And I tell people it's not a movie, it's an experience. You got to watch it from start to finish. You got to get on the roller coaster and watch the sort of decline of the silent era and the craziness of the talkies. And there's an interesting sort of black comedy, humorous spot in the movie where they're doing a battle scene with, I think it was a bunch of knights. They got all these people dressed up as knight costumes, right? And they're, in a big field and they're running together. You guys will see it on the preview. Well, one of them ends up honestly dead, one actor. And they're looking down at his dead body. He's got a spear through him. And I think the comment that was made whenever they see that was, "Well, he had a drinking problem. Yeah, it'll catch up to you." So again, a lot of that was swept under the rug. You also get to see some tragedy in this, like I just mentioned. You will also see people in a sound booth when there's a certain scene going on. And sound booths apparently were not ventilated back in the 1920s. So you get to see people asphyxiate. And I think it's tragedy, again, gets swept under the rug for the greater good of the production. But Babylon will be available in March. You can pre-order it on Amazon Prime. You can also watch it on Amazon Prime, but you can also pre-order it, the Blu-ray, the 4K. It's an experience, and I really think the critics got this one wrong, because I actually saw glimpses of, like I said, Wolf of Wall Street, you know, and this is a film that rivals Scorsese's greatest masterpiece. And as if you're a lover of film and you're a cinephile and you know, you know, some things about it, you're gonna want to watch it again and again. Um, it's a lot to take in. It really is, and I really enjoyed the film, and I hope you do too. But like I said, it's not for everybody. It takes the R rating and sort of stretches it. And one of the most entertaining scenes that I have ever seen is during one of these Hollywood parties. Margot Robbie gets so crazy she wants to fight a snake. Her dad fought a snake, obviously. Her dad's character in the movie had fought a snake, real good at it. It didn't work out for him. So she takes it upon herself to fight a snake in the desert, and that scene to me was just over the top, intense, crazy as hell, but it's one of the things you will remember. You will also remember what happens to Brad Pitt character, Jack Conrad, as well as Margot Robbie's character. And you'll be saying to yourself in your head, E! True Hollywood Story. Remember that show with AJ Benza that was on E? That's what you'll think about. Where he goes, fame, ain't it a bitch, and he turns the light off. You guys will be seeing that and hearkening back to that when you're done with this movie. The other thing is, like I said, Damien Chazelle, I hope I got his name right, who the director of this picture is, really in the last 10 minutes hits you with everything since the silent era to the talking era to the digital era, the end of this movie. And it's like the sucker punch that really throws you out of your seat when you watch this. And I really hope that Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie win some Academy Awards, because they are amazingly phenomenal. The other thing I like about the film is too the wardrobe. It really sets the tone, and they really have nailed the 1920s look and atmosphere, as well as what came later. So, just my pick, you know, for a very good movie. Another good movie I just got done watching is m3gan, M3gan. For a PG-13, it was pretty intense, and it was about a company that makes an artificial doll. That doll somehow along the line gets murderous and kills a few people, and it was pretty good. I mean, it was awesome. James Wan co-produced it, you know, the guy that did all the Saw films, so you know it's good. Rumor has it there is an unrated director's cut circling around, so if you're interested, it's probably going to be a lot more bloody, a lot more intense, but the core movie was very, very good, you know. So I just wanted to share that with you. And the only other thing I got to tell you is, you know I've been busy. There's a few people that I kind of have not been cool with, or not, or haven't, or let me rephrase that, or have been busy, and I haven't really got back to them. So John, I am sorry. You know, I know we were supposed to go do whatever. We will, dude, we will. And I want to say what's up to my girl Jackie Carson. Jackie is a local celebrity around here. She apparently writes a few songs, and I've known her before she was famous. In fact, her dad used to come fix our washing and drying machines. You know, Joe Landa, he's pretty cool. So I'm going to get her contact info, but if you look up Jackie Carson, I know she's on Instagram and some other stuff, but I'm going to get it for you guys, because a lot of people don't know about Jackie. You know what I mean? Jackie kind of keeps herself, does her own thing, but the thing I like about Jackie is that she's always had a level head. Fame never changed her. She's still pretty amazing. And I work in the same facility as her, and every morning she gives me a fist bump or a hug, and she could totally shut me down. She could have that, you know, regular Hollywood glow and say, I'm better than everybody, you know, screw you, Greg. But she never does. She always takes time to keep her head level, and she's always an amazing person. And I can say that about a lot of people. And John, you know, we will celebrate your birthday. And I am sorry that things have been so crazy. And basically everybody too that's been down with me. It's hard sometimes to cut videos and, deal with life. And lately we've got a lot of life crap going on, and I wish it would stop. So definitely check Babylon out. Avoid the Callista Protocol at all costs. Take it back to GameStop. Send Crafton a message. Say, look, we're not buying any more of your crap because we can't finish it. It's not fun and it's unplayable. And definitely check out Dead Space instead. And like I said, definitely look up Babylon. And if you do like horror, m3gan, M3gan, streaming live on Prime Cinema. It's like $20. It's definitely a cool movie. And again, man, thank you. So those are my picks for today. I just want to say what's up to my man Mitch holding it down. Thanks for the talk the other day, bro. Sometimes you need somebody to just get you in the right lane so you can accelerate. You know what I'm saying? But I hope everybody has a good Sunday. And I hope everybody has a good week. And we will see you next week, hopefully with another movie review. But instead of the Callista Protocol, and I'm driving it home because I hate that game, Dead Space. Put this thing on story. It's awesome. Especially if you played the old version. Dude, this is the one. Oh, and check out Resident Evil 4 Remake coming out. GW, signing off.